Today we're gonna make Deghi Aloo Gosht. For this you will need dhania, chili powder, Deghi chili powder, salt, zeera powder, turmeric, 2 onions, and we have these big pakora wale green chilies, and meat and some garlic. So in an instant pot you just put meat, put a half cup water and the onions. I sliced the onions thinly, but you could also put them in quarters. It's no worries. Traditionally, they just cut it in roughly into 4 pieces and they just put it in there. That's what I learned from my mother-in-law. For the masalas, 1 teaspoon heaped red chili powder. You could increase the heat if you wanted. 1 teaspoon Deghi chili powder or Kashmiri mirch. It gives it a good color. Then we have 1 teaspoon of zeera powder, heaped. And I have 1 teaspoon of dhania powder, heaped. Also, there would be half a teaspoon or 3/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Once all these ingredients are in, you have to also put garlic. You could use fresh garlic. If you use fresh garlic, use the whole entire pot of garlic. Or you could use 2 tablespoons of garlic paste. And last but not the least, salt. So you see the measure I have, the inside area is 1 teaspoon and the whole entire thing is 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to put a little more than 1 teaspoon, but I would add a little more later once after I taste it, because the potatoes are going to soak up all the salt and it won't be as salty, so we might have to add it later. Give it a good mix, and then we're going to turn the Instant Pot on at the meat setting, and on mine the meat setting at medium is 10 minutes. Here I have a bowl of water, and in this I'm gonna cut my peeled potatoes in 4s. These are huge potatoes, so you know they're the russet ones. I like to use russet potatoes because they don't melt too much or they don't overcook, and they're really good for making fries and aloo gosht. They kind of hold their shape. So you cut them in 4s. I have about 3 of these potatoes, and I'm going to put them in water until it's time for them to go back into the gravy. So when you open the Instant Pot, this is how it looks like. I'm going to set it on sauté mode and add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I like using this because it's concentrated, it gives it a deeper tomato flavor, and it also adds a lot of color. And if you know, the traditional aloo gosht is a nice beautiful red color, and the Deghi mirch is definitely going to add to it. Give it a good mix. We have to make sure that all of these onions and everything else we've added to it, the garlic, it becomes into a pasty form. And I'm going to show you a quick, easy way of doing it. Usually my mother-in-law used to just mash it with the spoon. I'm going to add avocado oil, about 1/4 cup. And I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of desi ghee. I use this brand of desi ghee. It's lactose free and it's good for you. Since I've been using avocado oil, I've seen that I've seen a lot of changes in our, you know, we don't put on weight, and it's a better oil to use, so go for it. So now after you put the oil, we want to increase the heat. So I'm going to change it to saute mode and change it to high. We want the gravy to be less watery and we want the oil to come up. So after a while, I'm going to show you how it looks. You do need to cook this for a little longer. And right now you see all that water in there. And remember, you want aloo gosht to be watery, and that's why we use 2 onions in it. So anytime you want like a shorbe wala salan, the trick is use a lot of onions. So after it has cooked down, you see that the gravy has become quite thick and the oil is oozing out and it's coming up. So at this point, I'm going to add some potatoes to this. I also use the hand blender. I think I deleted that clip by mistake, but I use the hand blender. I put all the meat on one side and I pureed it. Now we add the potatoes and we give it a good mix. And I'm going to add water, about so much to cover up the meat and the potatoes in the water. So make sure that you see the water above the meat and the potatoes. Right now I've also set my Instant Pot on saute at the normal or the middle heat level, and after I add the water, I'm going to just close it and keep the venting to vent out, release. I'm not going to put on the pressure because I don't want the potatoes to overcook. Like you see now, the water is till there and you see the meat is slightly sticking up, so I'm going to give it a little mix to make sure everything is sunken in to the water. It already has a beautiful, gorgeous red color, and that's why it is Deghi Aloo Gosht. So I'm going to close this now, and you see the venting option there. I'm going to turn that to the venting side. I don't want it to be on pressure. It's going to be on the venting side. And there you go. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to cook it for about good 10 minutes, and I'm going to check in the middle if the potatoes are done. And this is what it looks like once I opened it. I'm going to check if the potato is done. I put a spoon in it, a knife in it to check, and it is done. And you see how it is holding its shape. It is not too soft and breaky. That's exactly how you want it. Now in the end, I'm going to add these chilies. It's very important to use these kind of chilies, the ones we use for pakoda. It gives it a very unique fragrance. It's not spicy. I did use the ends with the seeds in here to add a little spice to it. My Deghi Aloo Gosht is not very spicy. If you want to make it spicy, make sure you increase your chili powder to 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to add some qasuri methi to this. I'm not cooking the qasuri methi a lot into the salan. I want it for fragrance. And I'm going to add some Dhania to this and our aloo gosht. I'm going to leave it on low, saute low. So you see any extra water or that watery taste, you won't want that watery taste, and you can get that flavor of aloo gosht without the watery taste only if the oil is all oozing out on top. Like you see those small pockets of oil forming there, that's what you want to see all over the gravy. I'm adding dhania now to it, chopped dhania, fresh. Some people like to add kali mirch to it. I don't really like adding any garam masala to this. We like it like this, but if you are, if you like the heat and your aloo gosht to be slightly higher, you could sprinkle some garam masala on it as well. But I'm going to leave it as is only. And you see that beautiful oil that's come up now, and it's looking really nice and gorgeous, beautiful Deghi red color to it. That's exactly how you want your aloo gosht to look. So this aloo gosht is usually eaten with white rice. But today I'm going to make tadke wale chawal, and you will see how to make tadke wale chawal in my next video. So I do leave it on low for some time, but you don't ever want to You don't ever want to overcook this aloo gosht, because then it's going to become thick. It's not going to be that watery shorba type taste to it. And you see that those pockets of bubbles, you don't want to see that. So I'm going to leave it to cook for a bit until all those pockets are filled with oil and doesn't have any bubbles anymore showing up. And your aloo gosht is finally ready to eat.